I love the sound of birds in the background.
Chirping bird, yeah.
You need me? I'll shut that window. Sorry.
No,
that's okay.
I like it because we're going to do a lot of horrible things.
Anyway, welcome to Dungeon Not Included.
Yes. The chirping birds are cicadas. Are cicadas, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're playing Tears of a Machine SC this week with Russell Collins, the creator of the game, running it for us. We made our characters last week, and we're about to dive into actual roleplay now.
Here we go. So just to get things rolling, let's do what I always like to do. So if I could have everybody in Roll20, you've got your character sheet open. Can you just do me a favor and quickly read through the identity of your character to let everybody know who you are? I mean, I guess just, from the name through to to your link. I think that's a good, just to prime the pumps. So how about Noah?
Okay. Boom. Wrong tab. I am Noah X, 19-year-old fearless refugee, pilot, good at empathizing, discovering, and deceiving. My hope is, basically justice matters for me. So I will show the preservation force. I show that this preservation force can do more. I love the way that reads out. Like it's like like you said, Mad Libs, but much less farts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Should Fatima. I read links, or are we going to go right over to someone else?
Let's just move on. Yeah, Fatima, tell us about the basics of yourself.
Sure. I am Fatima Shirvani, 19-year-old brash troublemaker pilot, good at intruding, fighting, and protecting. And acceptance matters to me, so I will get someone to tolerate me enough not to reject me.
Okay. Noble cause. And Salem, please introduce yourself.
I am Salem Byrne, a 20-year-old holistic outsider pilot, good at discovering, shooting, and disturbing. Balance matters to me, so I will show up the top piloting team.
Okay.
Been on top for far too long.
I love this. And as just popped up over the screen for those of you listening to the podcast, if you're listening live, please feel free to comment and say hello. Hello, Misha. Hello.
Hello.
And ask questions. Of course, this is your chance to harass Russell in the middle of running a game about his Kickstarter. Okay.
Sure. So let's get into it. For anybody who didn't tune in, what?
We should also specify the pronouns of our characters.
Yeah.
I do want to mention it because I have chosen neo-pronouns for my character this time around. Mm-hmm. Salem goes by Fae, Fair, and Fair Self.
Okay.
Fatima goes by she and her pronouns.
Okay.
I'm going to edit mine in a minute, but I will do he, him, and I may need some guidance on Fae, Fair, and what was the third one?
Fair Self. I can send you a little guide that compares it to like.
Thank you. Cool. All right. And for those of us listening to the podcast, we're editing our lower thirds, hot production action.
Yep. That's the real. That's where the fun happens. All right. So, for anyone who's, just tuning in and doesn't know what this is about, it is a mecha drama game set in a near future of planet Earth. Earth is under attack by invaders from beyond the stars. Our answer to that, of course, is giant robots piloted by emotional young adult folks. So we've got our collection of 18-year-old pilots who are ready to show them invaders what for after they finish their math tests.
Right.
So speaking of that sort of thing, let's see. So setting the stage, you are part of the crew of the Arx Jericho. An Arx is a literal flying fortress. It's about the size of an aircraft carrier, but it hovers thanks to stolen anti-gravity, super high-tech technology. So it kind of, floats through the sky like a gigantic metal cloud with an entire a small city of Preservation Force personnel on the back of it. That includes military, of course, because we have to fight off the attacks. But there's also a lot of people on board that ship who are medical staff, firefighters, construction workers, all that kind of thing, because the Preservation Force is, about preserving people, fighting off the enemy, and then jumping into rebuilding and trying to stabilize the environment that follows after those attacks. So, the three of you are in the same pilot company, which I believe we're just calling the family, because I like that. You'll have to tell me. I made the joke that you should have Vin Diesel's face stenciled on the biceps of your mechs, but I'm going to let you. You can decide if that was a good idea or not later.
I think we should all have different Fast and the Furious characters.
Yes.
All right.
So, like, one of us gets Vin Diesel, another one gets The Rock, another one gets one of the people who aren't The Rock or Vin Diesel.
What was that third character from the Fast and the Furious franchise? What was that?
John Cena's in the new one. John Cena.
Good. I don't know
Yeah.
either, but yeah.
The Rock did not appear, but John Cena did. So you do have a WWE star in there.
There you go.
All right.
You got it all.
As long as we got that, we've got good crossover potential with the wrestling fans.
Yes.
All right. So, as we mentioned in sort of our setup to the episode, volleyball is very important here at the Academy aboard the ARCs, where you and other cadets are training to be pilots. Now, the three of you being in that company, you've already graduated in effect. You've already successfully gone through that psychological, psychokinetic link to one of your giant robots, your Saint. But there is another company that is Able Company, which is also a group of three pilots, and we'll probably meet them in a little bit. But one of the things, one of the reasons why volleyball seems so important is because one of the trainers, Trainer Raj, is kind of he's been looking for like good ways to try and balance out teams and get people to connect with each other. And one of his big answers to that seems to be having rotating teams of volleyball players. The idea being that each company is always on the same team, but all of those cadets get mixed in and out and cycle through, and we try alternating and so on, because this is a good way to build some teamwork. Volleyball is a game that involves a lot of like teamwork. You're passing things off to each other. Eventually you try to anticipate each other's moves and so on. So Trainer Raj has begun using volleyball to sort of test team compatibility. Now, Able Company wins a lot. So a lot of the cadets are eager to be part of their team because they think, you know what, if I win a lot of volleyball games with Able Company, maybe that means I'm more in tune with their minds, and it'll be easier for me to actually get into their Saint Company once I hit that point of my training. You guys are a little more awkward. Family is a little more awkward, so Raj has a little harder time trying to balance things out with you guys, which is why I think we probably need to begin our story on the volleyball court. The ARCS Academy is a wonderful, wonderfully high-tech environment, but a gymnasium is still kind of a gymnasium. It's a big, empty, open space with nets in it and a lot of loud, echoey sounds bouncing off the walls and very harsh lights high overhead. But the scoreboard is this cool holographic setup.
Nice.
But the three of you are out on the court with three cadets. Let's see, George, Claire, and Cesar are currently out on your team with you. Cesar is on his way to being an officer, so he doesn't like people telling him what to do. George has this feeling that he's better than everybody else, so he doesn't like being told what to do. And Claire has never made a decision for herself in her life, unfortunately, so it seems that she's just kind of hanging on, waiting for somebody to feed her next action. And between Cesar and George yelling at her, that means she ends up running back and forth a lot. So,
well, Fatima also doesn't like people telling her what to do. So,
Yeah. Might be part of the reason why Raj is worried about what you are going to end up doing to your squad this way.
That's right.
Salem starts every volleyball tournament by setting up crystals around the gym because the energy in here is so whack.
Understood. All right.
Boy.
Hey, everyone's got to do what works. All right. So we are in the midst of one of these volleyball games. It is, as usual, family versus able, and the mix of various cadets in with you. Why don't we take this opportunity to show off what's special about our pilots, and also get into the first use of the rules, so I can drop that on you right away.
Nice.
So when we face a challenge in the Tears of a Machine, we build a die pool based on the traits that we've set up for our characters. When you announced who your character was, you mentioned like certain key words to them, their verbs, adjectives, archetypes, these words that we chose to define them. Those words are what provide dice for our die pools. Now, when you are working together as a team, you can elect one person to be the leader of the team, and then others can assist that person. If you each have your own goal, your own thing that you want to do during this volleyball match, then that means you're off on your own plan, and you've kind of got to be your own team and set your own goal. So I guess that's kind of my question to you is, what is your goal for this volleyball match? Are you looking to outdo Able Company? Are you looking to do something else entirely on the side? What's your goal? Does it cross over with other members of your company? Because if it does, then you can team up and work together. Or what?
I think for now, Salem wants to win.
Yeah.
A sort of a short-term goal, Salem wants to win.
Understood.
I think it might be, since we seem to have three characters that will at least occasionally, if not by default, be on loners. Maybe we establish that's who we are, and we're all, instead of working together to win, we're all doing our own thing to win. Sort of like establishing shot. These are three people who really should be working together and are not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to humiliate Able Company.
Gotcha. All right. So your goal is to do something that will humiliate Able Company. Salem, your goal is to actually win. And Noah, what is your goal?
To even it out, I think that we're wasting time with volleyball. We should be focusing on other efforts that the protective force can do.
Okay.
I don't know. So I'm basically trying to hand out flyers, get people to sign up on my petition, that kind of stuff, not paying attention.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay. So let's consider what you're all kind of doing and how you're doing it. So take a look at your character sheet. What traits can you pull in for your choice of action? Let's start with Noah. Since you're each kind of doing your own thing, we can kind of go through you sort of in sequence. So what of those traits? You're a fearless refugee, good at empathizing, discovering, and deceiving. Justice matters to you. You have a link to Jamie, who has unfortunately passed.
Mm-hmm. I think what makes the most sense here is fearless refugee. Both of those. One, because our trainer wants us to do this, and I don't care. I'm not paying attention, so I'm flying in the face of what the trainer's saying. And refugee, obviously, because this is the passion that really matters to me. And I think justice. It matters to me so much that I'm pursuing it, even though I should be probably not being a tool right now.
Okay. All right. So that's 3 traits. So let's have you do the first die roll so we can test all this out. So each of those traits, each is a fate die. So what you want to do is you want to roll 3DF for fate dice.
Nice.
Boom.
Then let's see what we get.
Am I in the wrong screen? No, I'm not. Ooh.
All right. So you've got a blank, a minus, and a minus.
Mhm.
Now, here's where things start to get a little different from typical Fate. You know, we're used to playing Fate games where you take the dice, you roll them, and you add them up or whatever. You can already see that I'm doing something weird because I don't have you rolling the standard 4 dice.
Mhm.
Instead, there are 2 parts to every task, every scene like this that you take on. The first thing we do is we are going to select one of those dice to be your goal. Did you get what you wanted from this? You know, in this case, did you draw enough attention away from the game to get people to sign your petitions and be more interested in you than in the game itself? Now, of the dice that you've rolled, you've got a blank, a minus, and a minus. Obviously, the minus is not good for you. The blank is okay. You get what you want. A plus would be even better. You would get what you wanted and then other stuff. But you've got the blank and the minus. Now, there's going to be another part to this action after we decide on your goal die.
Tell me about what the other part will be, and then maybe I could choose. I want to know where I get the egg on my face.
So the other part will be the cost. Is there some kind of consequence for you getting this result? It's possible to walk entirely unscathed, to fail miserably, but walk away entirely unscathed.
Yeah,
or
that's good.
fail miserably and have bad stuff follow after you. In the case of the cost die, again, a plus is good. In that case, a blank is kind of bad, and a minus is definitely bad.
Mm.
So yeah. Now, you do have points that'll let you change these things. I've given you those ego points. You can use them to change a die result after you've chosen it. So that's something to bear in mind as well. You know, just like you would with a willpower point or whatever.
Mhm.
You know, you can spend it, and if you spend it, you increase the value of that die. So you could choose the blank, spend a point of ego, and say, okay, actually, it's a plus.
Oh, okay.
Or choose one of the minuses, spend the point of ego, and say, actually, it's a blank.
So I'm gonna go with the blank for whether I get what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
So a few people are actually signing up on my list, and it's maybe mostly to get me out of the way. But you know, they don't seem completely. They don't sign up with fake names. It's just okay, I'll sign up. Why not? Yeah. All right.
It's agreeable enough. I mean, a couple of the cadets are kind of irritated, but yeah, as you said, they're not all ducking away from you.
Right. I'm gonna take one of those negatives as the consequence.
Take that as the cost. Okay.
The
okay.
cost. Yeah.
So a negative on a cost die creates a trouble for you. A trouble is a lasting consequence that actually is going to make it more difficult for you to have control over later scenes. It's kind of a disadvantage that follows after you.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about a trouble is that it is always something you can fix. It's something that you can deal with or repair or put right down the line. The problem is you have to take an active hand in doing that. You can't just sort of let them passively go away. So what you are going to end up is you are going to end up gaining a trouble. If you look at your character sheet, there's a little under condition, there's a little plus add. If you click that, it should open up a line for you to write down a trouble. Now,
Right.
I think the trouble has to do with Trainer Raj.
Yeah.
Seeing all this and deciding to call you out, and
He doesn't think I'm a team player. Yeah. Literally.
He sees you, and he starts shouting at you and calling, get your head in the game, Noah. Why you think that you just, do your own thing here? Everyone else is playing the game. Everyone else is participating. You've got to go off and do your own thing. I don't understand you.
You don't get me, man.
Yep. So there you are. There's your trouble. Trainer Raj doesn't think I'm a team player. So anytime that you have to deal with Raj or show that you're a team player, you're going to be at a disadvantage in that situation.
All right.
Raj is like exasperated a lot of the time. That's usually his response to anything being not quite the way he wants it to, like to the point that, like, you know, just has those scowl lines perpetually on his forehead. And yeah. So yeah, he shouts at you and calls you out for that.
Yeah, and this is like the part of the, if this were, I know it's hard not to see this as a TV series, but it's like this is the part where you're like, this is a volleyball game. None of this is ever gonna come up later in the series. I don't care about this at all. All right, yeah, cool.
So we just hope it doesn't come up.
Yes, exactly. Who
Now,
wants to go next?
Well, one thing to finish that action.
Oh,
there's a pacing mechanic built into the game called beats. There are a certain number of beats set aside for the scenes leading up to the crisis of the episode. The crisis is when big stuff starts happening, like an attack by the Venator, or a big argument breaks out, or something like that. And the way that beats tick down is by the actions, the dice you spend in the actions for your tasks. Now, you chose to use a blank for your goal, so that takes 1 beat off the clock. And we are ticking down toward our crisis with that.
Oh, neat.
So now we have 5 beats left before.
I think I would like to go next. So
sure,
go ahead, and if you were going to explain something else.
No, that's good. Let's go ahead, Fatima. Let's see what.
So what I would like to do is spike the ball into the face of the leader of the other team.
Okay, the leader
of the Alpha Company.
Yeah,
where is the
Able Company?
Leader?
Able.
You're spiking the ball into the face of pilot Samantha DeWitt.
Yeah, right in her face.
Yeah, her saint is called Torchbearer. She has a big thing about family reputation, that she needs to uphold. She always wants to be in the front, so her being right in front of you as you spike the ball is a pretty common thing to happen. All right, so this is your way to try and humiliate Able Company.
Yeah. All
right then. What traits are going to help you to do that?
I'm brash and I'm a troublemaker.
Mm-hmm.
I think both of those are going to work. I don't know if fighting actually works for this or not.
Fighting is more around trying to do real harm to people. Do you actually want to break her nose?
I wouldn't care if I did.
Okay. If you want to pull in fighting, then you can. You just have to consider that the potential consequences will be a little more severe.
That's fine.
Narrate through these. So, all right.
So that's 3 dice, right?
That's 3 dice. Yep. Yeah. So go ahead and roll your 3 fate dice, and let's see what you have to work with.
2 minuses and a 0.
All right. 2 minuses and two minuses and a blank.
Move that clock. Move that clock.
Well, the first, So the first thing you're going to choose is you're going to get to pick your goal die. Which is it going to be? Do you want a blank or do you want a minus? The minus means you don't get what you want. You don't actually humiliate Able Company. The blank means you do. But I'm going to, there's still going to be some consequence that I get to control. And again, you can spend a point of ego if you want to change one of those dice. You can't spend, you can't spend more than 1 point of ego on a task.
Right. No, I'm going to go ahead and let it ride. We'll go with the blank.
The blank for the goal? Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to say that she's humiliated, but it's clearly, I deliberately spiked a ball in her face, so I'm not the good guy in this situation.
No, certainly not. I mean, you go up for a sharp spike. You smack the ball right into the bridge of Samantha's nose. There is a shrill whistle blast from Raj on the sidelines. Samantha stumbles, crashes into one of the other cadets. They both fall over. As she's picking herself up, she notices there's blood, dripping from her nose, and she, starts screaming at you.
And I'm mocking her, so
screaming at you.
Yeah,
just sort of trying to basically end the game at that moment. Samantha does storm off, leaving the game behind in order to in order to go and find some tissues and deal with her nose. All right. Now, the cost. I get to choose the cost die, and obviously there are only blanks there. So I'm going to choose one of the blanks.
Negatives.
Yeah.
You mean?
Yeah. I'm sorry, the negatives. Yeah, there are only minuses left, so I'm going to choose a minus. Do you want to spend an ego point to bump it up to a blank, or are you going to okay with gaining a trouble for this?
I'll get in trouble.
Okay. So, let's see. Well, we've already established that Noah's not really being recognized as a team player. Fatima, you know that Raj already dislikes you.
Yeah.
Wants you out of the program, has had, big falling out with you and so on. I want you to add the trouble. So under condition, hit that plus add button.
Yeah.
And I want you to write in the trouble, Raj has the evidence he needs.
Oh, that's awesome.
So Raj has the evidence
nasty.
he needs that you are not only that you are dangerous. You've this is because you use the fighting trait. This was a full on like smash in the face attack on someone.
Yeah.
So he blows the whistle. He stops the game. He gets everything kind of sorted out, getting Samantha off, to see the medics. There's a lot of shouting at everybody. But then, he looks up at the clock and realizes that there's still some time left that they're supposed to keep playing. So he kind of grudgingly gets the match started again after grabbing another cadet and shoving them in to, take Samantha's spot in the lineup for Able Company.
So I'm like, thanks for taking one for the team, Fatima. Geez, I thought I was going to be in trouble. I also am like very upset that the game started again because I'm like, what is with you in this game? Why did you restart it? Why? Injuries. All right.
Well, because I need to find out what Salem's going to do largely.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well, Fatima's going to smirk at you when you thank her. So yeah.
Salem is basically going to find the other team's weaknesses and just exploit the hell out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the first part of the game where Noah was, handing out flyers and Fatima was breaking people's noses, Salem was sort of like taking a back seat and watching, and now Faye is gonna come forward and just try to spike as many balls as possible. So I would say that would be discovering, shooting, and disturbing. Does that make sense?
I think that works. I think that gets you your three traits now. But remember, you are also trying to show up the top piloting team as part of your hope, correct?
Yes.
So that means you actually should have 4 traits that you can use with that.
Okay.
Right?
So do I pick another one, or does
the hope
count
counts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that counts. So I have 4.
You have 4 dice. Yep. So you can roll 4 fate dice.
Excellent.
4 is the maximum, by the way. You can talk about other traits you want to use, but you can never roll more than 4 dice. Oh, wow. Okay. We've got a spread.
So that's a plus, a 0, and 2 minuses.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you've got a spread here. So you get to choose the gold die first. Plus means you get what you want. You beat, you beat Able Company's team finally. And you will be responsible for choosing the cost die. If you play the blank, then you get what you want, but I will have control over the cost die. Minus means you don't get what you wanted.
Right. I'll take the plus for my goal.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I essentially just like the back half of the game, Salem just destroys the other team. Like, I spike a ball and they cannot catch it to save their lives.
I think after Fatima's smacking Samantha in the face, there's a little bit of nervousness, maybe a little fear of what's going on with the family company team.
Right.
It's a situation that George and Cesar are really behind because they like being able to kind of bully the other team around, which, yeah.
And I'm going to be like, I'm just going to be trash talking the whole time, saying, not so tough now that Samantha's gone, are you?
Yep. That goes over real well with them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I like
All
how
right.
this, instead of showing that, well, it showed that we were three individuals who are not working together. It shows us we're three individuals who don't work together, but we get the job done in a way that you wouldn't want done.
Right.
That seems pretty good, yes.
I like that.
Now, you will also get to choose the die for your cost. Do you want it to be a minus or do you want it to be a blank? And do you want to change that by spending a point of ego?
So we know what happens when the cost is a minus. What happens when the cost is a blank?
When the cost is a blank, you gain a point of angst. Angst is worry, nervousness, background static. It's nothing so severe that it impacts you now. It's not going to put you at a disadvantage when you get into a situation with someone. It's just those little nagging worries. That's fine. As a person, as a pilot, you can sort of carry that weight around and it doesn't really bother you much. The trouble is, if you get aboard a Saint, that's when your angst is going to start to matter, because you, being a person, are used to contending with angst. Saints don't understand fear, worry, imposter syndrome, anything like that.
I'll take the 0 for my cost.
All right. So give yourself a point of angst in your condition. There it is. Cool. And there we are. So those other dice are not spent, so they are gone. Now, let me update the beat count. So Fatima, your choice of a blank for the goal was 1 more beat. So we're down to 4 beats. And let's see. And Salem, your choice of the plus, used 2 more beats. So we're actually cruising through this. We're down to 2 beats already before we get to our crisis scene. We broke this one scene up amongst the 3 of us, the 3 pilots. So yeah, it's taking up more of the screen time basically. Yeah. Like this, what started out as kind of an intro scene then becomes like the focus of the episode as this volleyball game, goes back and forth, and as we each see the pilots sort of doing their own thing, taking it in their own direction, and and eventually wrecking the plans of Able Company. Now, Salem, you should, because you did actually complete that goal, like your hope was for balance and the thing you wanted to do, you actually completed, you achieved that goal. So when the story ends, you're going to get to level up because you achieved that goal. So make a note, make a notation next to it or whatever, just so that we know that you've done that. That's how you gain your levels, is by achieving that goal that you've set for yourself under your hope. Cool. So, how are we all feeling? We're good with the rules. We're making sense so far.
I like breaking it. I like using this scene too to break out the rules and really just piece it together. I think I have a good grasp on it.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So, the game does eventually come to an end with Raj blowing the whistle angrily before everyone is dismissed to go shower up and get on with the rest of their days. Everyone does get a dressing down about teamwork, the importance of this thing. Like everyone's misunderstanding the purpose of this entire exercise. This is about trying to get everybody thinking the right way and working as a team. And if that's not going to happen, it's going to make things a lot harder around here if we're not able to actually expand our Saint companies up to their full complement of pilots. 3 is the minimum number we want to be running around here. For better safety, we'd like to have 5, maybe 6 people per company. But I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Anyway, get out of my sight. And he sends everyone away.
I like
Salem
that.
was not listening the whole time. Faye was just like lighting incense and like rubbing the crystals on Fair Jacket. Like
the thing Faye would do.
Yeah.
This beleaguered teacher, the entire time I'm imagining Alex playing the character, just being like, "Oh,
Alex is
you
wrong.
you don't understand what the purpose of this exercise was." Well, yeah, well, that's on you. All right, yeah,
I'll do a better job of playing beleaguered in future for this role. I promise. Right now, I'm kind of enjoying the game too much, so I just keep smiling, even though you keep doing terrible things.
That's the way it works. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
I'm
Listen,
just
this is a podcast for a reason. Okay,
Yeah.
we're not here to do face acting. That's just for you quick streamers out.
we're not here for face acting. Save that for Fast and the Furious and the
That's
3
right.
characters I know from it.
John Cena, The Rock, and Vin Diesel.
Those are the 3.
Don't ask me their character names.
Yes, do not add us about this. Yeah, I'm frustrated. I'm kicking dirt, and I'm walking back with Rebel and Fatima. I'm like, what is the purpose of that exercise? Like, what is it? Why volleyball? I don't get it.
To
I don't
show
understand.
that we're better than Able Company. That's why.
Well, clearly we are.
That's a good goal.
And anybody would be honored to join us. Not that anybody ever really wants to. But in theory, they should be honored to join us. I'm not at all worried that we are off-putting and making people, not trust us and not like us. That's not our problem. That's their problem, right? Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Convincing. All right.
Speaking of problems, Noah, as the 3 of you have already gotten cleaned up and you're heading on about the rest of your day, it's probably time to hit the cafeteria soon. You're dressed in your academy uniforms, the smart little jacket and tie and all that kind of thing. Pilots tend to get away with messing up their outfits more than cadets will. Cadets are usually neat and polished. Once you're a pilot, people stop complaining about the fact that you're wearing buttons or that you never do your tie up the right way or whatever. So a lot of pilots like to take advantage of that, give themselves a little individualism.
Salem has sewn crystals onto Fair Jacket.
I was waiting to hear what was going on with Salem.
Yeah.
Different color in chakra, different colors are associated with different parts of the body, with amethyst being your head and then rubies at your feet. So they're the correct colors for the torso going down.
Excellent. Yes, you don't want to look like somebody who just picked this up. They got you. Everyone needs to know that you're serious. This is for real.
Listen, Faye needs for energy to flow exactly correctly so that their whole day doesn't get messed up.
Yes.
Right?
Speaking of messing up days, though, so Noah, you recognize that as the 3 of you are making your way through the kind of crowded collection of people exiting the academy, up ahead you see Instructor Marta. Now, outside the academy, there's actually this lovely little, grassy area, like the quad, basically, outside the academy, which is kind of crazy because you are on a gigantic, flying fortress. But they've still put together a nice little grassy quadrangle in front of the academy building. And the entirety of the arcs is covered over by this electromagnetic bubble that actually kind of controls the temperature inside. So it's always kind of a nice spring day, even though you are cruising at 20,000 feet, above the planet. But there, as this, crowd of cadets and students and teachers and so on, spreads up and spreads out across the space, you see Marta striding in the direction of your company. Hasn't spotted you yet, but is definitely looking for you. Now, you've got a fairly good idea what she's going to ask, because she's been putting together a commemoration for past cadets and pilots and so on. That's going to be part of this big ceremony thing when you guys get to Philadelphia. And she's looking to family company to contribute something to this presentation about Jamie. So, Noah, what's your response to that? Are you gonna let Marta find you and ask you about how's that thing coming along? Are you gonna duck and run? Are you gonna how are you gonna face that situation?
I am too awkward and not prepared for this. So I'm literally going to hide. I'm going to find a corner and just see if I could duck and just make myself flat against the wall, and hopefully she won't notice me.
Okay. So your goal is to evade the situation. So I'm going to ask you to break out some dice for that. Are the other pilots in the company going to help you, or do the two of you just want to leave Noah out to deal with this embarrassment on his own?
If I notice, so I'll notice Noah ducking away from Marta, and I think I know what it's about. So I'm going to try to distract Marta.
Okay, so you're going to work with Noah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's.
I think Salem's happy to talk to Marta. So if Salem can run interference a little bit.
Gotcha.
There are two kinds of people.
So the goal of your combined action is to see to it that Noah slips away. So we've got that sort of established goal. So the two of you, Fatima and Salem, will be assisting Noah. Now, the way that this works is assist pilots are going to roll one die, and Noah's going to have the option to take a die from one of you to replace one of his own. So let's break it down. Noah, you're still the focus of the attention here, so you're still the lead on this action. What actions are you going to take, and what traits are you going to use to run and hide? And then we'll see how you get.
I'm good at deceiving, so I'm going to rely on that. Can the link between Jamie being my unrequited crush, can I pull that in as well?
That is big motivator to not getting caught in this conversation. So yes.
So that's 2, and that's all I could think of that would make sense.
All right.
So.
All right, so if you want to roll those 2 fate dice, we've already talked a little bit about what Salem and Fatima are going to do to contribute to this, basically running interference, chatting up Instructor Marta before she gets to Noah. So each of you roll 1 die.
Yeah, I'm going to be rolling my brash die.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can decide which trait it is that you're using. But the thing is, since you're not the focus, since you're the assistant on the action, you're only going to roll 1 die, because it's going to be up to. Oh wow!
Oh, we did not help at all.
Thanks, guys.
Not rolling well.
So I rolled a minus and a blank, and then both Rebel and Brendan rolled minuses.
Yeah. So minus and a blank and a minus and a minus. All right. So here's the deal. Noah, it's up to you, Frank. It's up to you to decide if you're going to take one of those assist dice. If you do, it will replace one of your own dice. Now, taking it away means that it has no effect on the person who rolled it. Otherwise, it's going to be a cost die for them, meaning more trouble for whoever they are.
Okay.
Now, you can only take it away from one of them.
Oh.
You can also choose to do nothing. You can just leave it there, and they have to deal with the outcome.
I'll say I haven't gotten any consequences so far.
Yeah.
So you can leave me hanging. I'm fine with that.
That's very noble. I think I'm going to leave both of you hanging, because it kind of makes sense that you're both attempting pretty much the same thing, to distract Marta, and it fails for both of you, and there's a consequence for both. That kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? For that
Now,
reason,
we
I'm
can
not
still
going to
we can just to we can still spend ego points. You're not saddled with all this just yet. You still have a
Yeah.
chance to you still have a chance to save yourselves. But yeah, if
I'm
you're
holding on to my
not gonna,
ego points for the robot fight. So
okay, gotcha.
take. Smart. So yeah, I'm gonna keep what I rolled, the minus and the blank.
Okay.
For the goal of evading, I'm gonna
Mhm.
take the minus
So you
because I
don't
want to
manage to
fail at
evade.
this. Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay. So what was a minus? So you don't
because
actually get away.
that
And you're
tracks
gonna let
pretty
it
well
sit.
with why.
You're not gonna spend ego. You're just gonna let it ride.
No, I'm gonna let it go, and it kind of tracks well with why Salem and Fatima kind of got egg on their face, right? Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's settle that up, and then we'll get into the collective costs for all of you. As you said, Noah, you try and sort of disappear into the crowd. Fatima and Salem, the two of you come up and start talking to Instructor Marta. Oh yeah, you're being brash and rude, Fatima. So you just charge in there and start complaining about grades or something or whatever it is that gets in Marta's face. She's kind of unflappable in this situation, though. She's on a mission. She's got kind of a purpose going in here. So she just kind of cuts her way through the crowd, breezes past the two of you, and makes her way right up to Noah. Noah, hi. I was wondering, she's got a clipboard, a digital clipboard in front of her that she's just always got. She glances down at it after every paragraph of speech. I was just wondering if you had anything to share so far, your progress maybe on the commemoration video, like the interview stuff, all that. I do want to preview all of that before we, spool it up for the ceremony.
I don't, because I don't really. I mean, why do we all have to make a big deal? I mean, people die. I don't know Jamie that well. I never did. I mean, no, I don't have anything to say.
Oh. I can take this off your plate then if it's really not a thing for you.
I can't think of a reason why you shouldn't right now.
All right, then. She flips open that clipboard and taps a few things there with her stylus, tucks her stylus back behind her ear, closes up the clipboard, and gives you a long look like solid eye contact look.
I'm just really busy with volleyball.
Right. If you do need to talk to someone, I am here all the time. If you could make an appointment to speak to Dr. Bradshaw, if you think that would be more helpful. We just, we want to make sure that everybody's dealing with what's happened. All right?
Right. That's good to know. Thanks.
All right. With that, she turns and looks back at Fatima and Salem. The two of you kind of got caught in the wake there. The square is very crowded, actually. The Arcs itself is crowded. This whole thing, they're flying out to Philadelphia because they've commissioned a new Arcs, and they're training up all the crew for that new Arcs here on the Jericho, meaning there are like 2 people for every job right now. So it's crowded, and that meant that she had a lot of people to stick between you and Noah and so on. But now let's look at the costs of things. So it looks like there's a blank for Noah, unless you want to spend an ego point to buy it up from that blank to a plus.
I'm going to keep it as a blank. I think it's playing as a blank right now.
Okay, point of angst for you.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Fatima and Salem, you still have ego. You have the option to buy that minus up to a blank. Otherwise, it's more trouble.
I'll take
I'm
some
a troublemaker.
You're a troublemaker. You want more trouble? Okay. All right. Well, Marta, is an instructor you see a lot. So this could be a problem. We might get into we'll probably very soon run into what actually happens when trouble hits. But so the trouble for both of you, I think, is Marta. I think you've lost Marta's confidence. I think that's it. The look that she gives the two of you as she walks back away from Noah is this kind of sad, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed look.
No.
Passes over both of you as she makes her way by.
And as opposed to my reaction to Raj, this one does cut deep because I like Marta more than I like Raj. So having lost her confidence is upsetting to me, but I'm going to cover it up by just acting all cocky.
Salem will pat Fatima on the shoulder and say, don't worry, that usually happens by the third day of terror spreads in the classroom.
Okay.
I come out from my hiding spot and I look even more upset because my friends got stared down or lectured or something. I'm not quite sure what happened because it's all over my head and I feel even worse.
All right.
Yes, so angst.
Well named.
I just updated my notes here to say that task of working on the video has been taken away from Noah. So, okay.
If you need to talk to Jamie, I do have my Ouija board.
Oh my God.
Jaw dropped.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a stare too.
I haven't been able to contact her. I think she may have moved on.
Do we know what happened to Jamie? Like, how was it? Sort of a sudden thing? Was she ill?
I don't know. I think maybe we could play to find out. That I don't. Yeah, I don't know yet. I have no strong feelings one way or another.
Yeah, let's let it continue on until it feels like we know.
Yeah.
Now about beats. Let me just quickly about the beats for that. You chose a minus for the goal. Basically, the task was a failure. That does not cost you any beats. So we have 2 beats left that we still need to handle. So just so you know, like choosing to fail a task does not still dump you into crisis. You get to tread water for a little bit and hopefully save some face before that.
Ooh. All right, we got about 10 minutes left. Do we want to end on the Noah staring at Salem for what?
No, I think one more scene would be good.
One more scene?
I want to see if we can end right when the crisis is supposed to start.
Yeah, that would be better for me. Okay.
Now, one of the things to consider, if people are walking around with a lot of trouble, if you ever hit 5 troubles, your character is retired from the game. That's how you lose, is you get 5 troubles. So one of the things we could do is, if you want to try and put a trouble right, you can say, hey, I want to set up a scene where I'm going to go and deal with that thing. So if one of you wants to try and shed a trouble, talk to somebody, work something out, then that could be something we want to do. Or we could just do something else. If there's something else you want to pursue, if you've got an idea for a scene, if you want me to keep throwing stuff at you, I can do that too. What do you like?
I want to set my trouble.
Feel free to play with the time too. These things don't have to happen in quick succession, one right after the. We can wait until like 2 days later when I, finally decide I need to talk to Raj about whatever.
Right. I don't know. Does Salem want to go try to make things right with Marta at some point in the next couple of days? Because I would tag along for that.
Well, the two of you want to team up to try and put things right there, or what?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So yeah, a few days later, the two of you have just finished up one of courses with instructor Marta. Since your pilots are all, 18, 19, that age range. That means that a lot of the classes around you are kind of dealing with sort of your professional training already and all that sort of thing.
Right.
So it's the end of class. You're, packing up your bags with your, basically your little tablet and your smartphone, because that's about all you really need. When Marta who's been kind of like looking askance at the two of you through all these classes, is you're sort of, sitting there going over stuff on her tablet, and you realize this is probably a moment when you could stand up and say something to her and maybe try to sort some stuff out. So who are you each going to take an individual look at that, or one of you going to lead for the other? What's the plan?
Salem will go up and say, your energy has been very locked off lately, and I think we should let it flow a little easier.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to come up to try to help in whatever way I can.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Well, how do you help, Fatima? What do you do to help? I do want you to have. You're only going to roll one die if you're assisting, Salem, but I want that die to at least be one trait.
I think I'm going for my hope, actually, my acceptance.
Acceptance. That's right. You're trying to get some acceptance from here. All right,
tolerate
good.
Me. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
that kind of plays into me trying to get Marta to tolerate me. So
Understood. Well, Salem, I think holistic is part of your what other traits are you bringing out in your actions in this task?
I would definitely say discovering, because it's been 2 days. I've definitely seen Instructor Marta's behavior since then.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of my other traits are going to help very much.
All right. So you've got the 2, and you're going to get an assist die from Fatima.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you're going to roll 2 dice. Fatima, you're going to roll 1 die, and then we will see what we can do with those results there. Now, one of the things to note is when you're confronting a trouble, it can't put you at disadvantage. If you were instead trying to do something else and Marta was there, then you'd be at a disadvantage, and I would be in control of your goal and all that sort of situation. But because you are facing a trouble head on, you are not at a disadvantage. Otherwise, you would never want to deal with any of your problems, would you? All right. So it was
a much better roll. We got a minus and a plus from Rebel, and I rolled a plus.
All right, then.
Great.
So, so Rebel, do you want to take that plus die from Fatima, or do you want to leave it with Fatima?
So, if I leave it with Fatima, does Fatima get any benefits from it?
Yes, Fatima would gain a point of ego. If you roll plus dice and you don't use them for anything, like if you were to roll extra plus dice beyond what you needed for your goal and your cost or whatever, those become points of ego. That's how you actually increase your ego, is by rolling pluses and not using them.
Right. Then I think I'm going to let Fatima keep her plus to recoup some ego.
Gotcha.
I will choose my plus die as my goal die. So I will succeed in my Salem way at getting the conversation started. Like Salem puts things in terms of like energies and like balance with the universe and things like that. But it's clearly like the gist of what Salem's saying is something's up. I would like to resolve it.
Fortunately for you, Marta does speak that same language and is able to translate a little bit and kind of meet you halfway. It ends up being kind of a long discussion. So actually the 3 of you end up walking over to Marta's office, which is kind of a hilarious thing because her office is an absolute mess. She is always neatly, her hair is, never out of place and neatly done up, and and she had everything's on her data pad, but her office is just full of books that apparently she has never touched from the layers of dust on them, but it's just a pile of books. But you come to some terms and understanding there. Marta explains to you how she really hoped that this whole thing with Jamie would actually be good for Noah, and she feels bad that all three of you kind of turned against it, but maybe it wasn't fair for her to put that on the three of you. And so, okay, we can kind of understand that, yeah, no one's really the bad guy here. We all kind of, crossed wires. So that trouble is gone for you.
For Salem.
Yeah, because Salem kind of led the action. Fatima, you were kind of along for the ride.
Right.
So it hasn't actually fixed the trouble for you yet because
That
you were
makes
only
sense.
assisting.
Okay.
But Salem and Marta understand each other. There might be something else that she's still hanging on to that's keeping her from recognizing Fatima as okay now.
Yeah.
But then there's the question of the cost. Now, right now, you have a minus die for your cost, Rebel, which means you're going to end up with another trouble of a different variety. Or you could spend a point of ego and make it a blank, and there'll just be some angst that you walk away from this situation with a little uneasy feeling. What do you think?
I think, what's the point of taking care of a trouble if I just make another one, right? So I'll spend an ego to make that just some angst.
All right, good. So yes, just a point of angst for you. And as we mentioned, Fatima, because your plus die was left in your care, that is an extra point of ego for you.
Awesome.
Ego goes up to 5. If it caps out at 5, then instead of adding more ego, you get to get rid of angst. So,
Okay. Cool.
I actually kind of love that Fatima has didn't fix things with Marta, but is feeling better about it. It's like, that's good.
Yes, I feel more confident.
Yeah. You feel more confident. Well, look at what you did to help out Salem. Isn't that great? I mean, who cares about Marta? Salem feels good, and that's what matters to you, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, Salem's very open to talking about feelings.
Yep.
So this is good. This gets your energy in a positive direction. Can't have all that building up.
Fatima is not good about talking about her feelings.
Mm. And with that, we have completed our beats for the task. We are ready for our crisis scene, but we are also out of time for our game session tonight. So we're going to have to, anybody who wants to see giant robot fights is going to have to come back next time. So
All right, awesome.
tune in next week.
I love that. Great
Perfect.
timing.
Yeah.
Oh, that was really cool. I love the way the game flows together. I like how we are building this show or whatever as we go. Really fun. Finding out more about Tears of the Machine SC, go to Kickstarter or robotclaw.info to find out more information about how you could back this project, and you could play with your friends, assuming you still have them. That's right. You know what you did. You think maybe I need a better way to sign off the show? No, it's not going to happen. All right. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Good night.